What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, former Cruiserweight Undisputed World Champion, turned heavyweight contender, Oleksandr Usyk, superstar boxer, has now issued a challenge to former Olympic bronze medalist, former WBC reigning heavyweight world champion, American superstar boxer, Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. He stated now, if he is indeed going to take step-aside money not to face Anthony Joshua, two-time unified heavyweight world champion British superstar boxer, in whom holds the WBO sanctioned body title, which Oleksandr Usyk is the mandatory challenge for, and his time is now. Oleksandr Usyk says that now, miraculously, he is interested in possibly taking step-aside money, if offered, so that Anthony Joshua could indeed face two-time heavyweight world champion, undefeated British superstar boxer Tyson the Gypsy King Fury in an all-undisputed British showdown on UK soil that's never been done before. They're looking to create history. And with that, they're looking to sidestep Deontay Wilder and his trilogy match with Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk and his WBO mandatory position, so they could stage this all-British UK undisputed showdown. Originally, Oleksandr Usyk stated that he had zero interest in taking any type of step-aside money. He stated that he wanted to stand his ground. He needed his opportunity to become a heavyweight world champion, become a two-time, two-division world champion, right? That was originally. Now he has since changed his tune. And now he has stated that he is willing to take step-aside money if he's able to land a showdown with Deontay Wilder. Now, there's two things that raise the eyebrow for me. Obviously, it's another way for them to be able to sidestep and maneuver around Deontay Wilder, right? And this lets me know that they upped the ante in the amount of step-aside money, and it was money that he just simply cannot refuse, this being Oleksandr Usyk. Remember, Oleksandr Usyk just recently fired his management team, K2 Promotions, for allowing and willingly knowing that his last fight, his last opponent in British heavyweight contender Derek Chisora had no padding in his gloves, and he stated that when he made his ring walk, the ring was even smaller than they agreed upon to give Derek Chisora every possible opportunity to be successful against him. That's thus removing him from the equation and not having to worry about honoring that WBO mandatory position. And we know this to be true. Why do we know this to be true? Because Eddie Hearn went on to state that, if he has to uphold, this being Joshua, his WBO mandatory position and face Oleksandr Usyk, they may just possibly vacate the WBO belt. And then Eddie Hearn also stated that, and if they vacate the WBO belt, they threaten to vacate all the belts in its totality, because he stated, what's the point in fighting Tyson Fury if it's not for undisputed on UK soil? So then we may well go ahead and do away with all the belts instead of having to pay, one key word he stated, major step-aside money. He's referring to Oleksandr Usyk, or have to honor these mandatory challenges and pay these huge sanction body fees and not even get the fights we want. So this was a clear indication that they were talking about Oleksandr Usyk in his position with the WBO and having to pay him large sums of step-aside money, okay? Now, like I stated, Oleksandr Usyk, they're promising him two things. If you could essentially remove Deontay Wilder out the equation by fighting him and beating him, right? Or just simply by fighting him and allowing him to lose his position with the trilogy match, because he is taking Tyson Fury to court and they're going to a mediation for Deontay Wilder to rightfully get his opportunity at the trilogy match that they contractually agreed upon. So they need to move him out of the equation. And all the indications that Tyson Fury is here in the United States training in Miami, Florida, that he is indeed going to have to face Deontay Wilder in the trilogy match in the early part of 2021. And so that doesn't bode well for Eddie Hearn, Matchroom CEO and promoter, who co-promotes Oleksandr Usyk. That doesn't suit them well because they know the risk that they run. Tyson Fury going in the ring with Deontay Wilder, not to mention all of the asterisks by Tyson Fury's victory in the second fight with Deontay Wilder, and all of the attention being paid to the first fight with the flappy glove and Glovegate, and Martin Carefoot, the farmer who allegedly provided Tyson Fury with wild, uncastrated boar meat that saw his UKAI, United Kingdom Anti-Doping Agency, test come up positive because the meat was tainted. But then Martin Carefoot then turned around and said he never provided them with any wild boar meat. And they indeed was offered to pay him £25,000 to state that he provided them with it to give them an alibi. So with that said, there's going to be a lot of attention and a lot of pressure on Tyson Fury going into a trilogy match with Deontay Wilder, because everything he do leading up to that fight is going to be viewed with a magnifying glass, whether you agree with Deontay Wilder's claims, whether you agree with the Glovegate or Martin Carefoot or not. You are indirectly going to be paying attention to it to prove people that he is on the up and up, just like everybody else is going to be paying close attention to it on the flip side to see if he's doing anything illegal or if he's bending the rules. So with that said, there's going to be a lot of pressure, not to mention hanging in the balance is the fact that Tyson Fury has this mega, massive, historic opportunity against Anthony Joshua in the UK, and to do groundbreaking, historic numbers in the UK with Anthony Joshua. That carrot is dangling, and that's a lot of pressure on Tyson Fury. And nobody knows if he is going to be able to withstand this, because we already know Tyson Fury succumbs to pressure, right? He makes that abundantly clear all the time. He folds under massive pressure when it comes to a lot of mental and physical pressure, okay? So with that said, they know the risk they run putting Tyson Fury in the ring with Deontay Wilder for a third time and possibly losing this undisputed match with Anthony Joshua, thus having to face Deontay Wilder for undisputed. Now the tables have turned, okay? The foundation has shifted, and now you're going to have to split things up, divvy it up between the United States and the UK, possibly have the fight staged in the United States because it would be bigger at that point in time in the United States. So now if you're Eddie Hearn in this situation, you're in a win-win situation. Why? Because you as a promoter get the opportunity to bring the most historic showdown, boxing showdown on UK soil in history, win or lose with your fighter. If Anthony Joshua wins, you win over 2 times. Your fighter won, and you brought the UK, the biggest fight in history, on that soil in an undisputed heavyweight showdown. But if he loses, you still was able to deliver the UK fans, the boxing fans in the UK, the biggest historic fight in the history of UK British boxers. So you in a win-win situation. But if Deontay Wilder beats Tyson Fury, all of that is done. All of that floats away. Okay? Now you have to stand by your words, because see, Anthony Joshua then stated that it's not about the man holding a belt, it's about the belt and the legacy. So that means if Tyson Fury was to lose to Wilder, then it's about trying to get that WBC belt from Deontay Wilder for undisputed, and it doesn't matter where, when, and who holds it, right? But if you're Eddie Hearn, that matters big time. And if you're Frank Warren, Queensberry Promotions promoter and CEO and founder and co-promoter of Tyson Fury, because he promotes Tyson Fury in the UK. Legendary promoter, top-ranked CEO Bob Arum promotes him in the United States. So Frank Warren has a lot to lose as well. And they want to get straight to it. They don't want to have any hiccups. They don't want to have... See, it makes all the sense in the world for Tyson Fury. Go ahead, honor the trilogy match, because, see, everybody stated that he already beat Deontay Wilder twice. The first fight ended in a draw, but essentially everybody was stating that, well, it was blatant that Tyson Fury won, but the judges didn't choose his direction. And the second fight, he stopped Deontay Wilder as he told the world he was going to do. So it should be that much easier to do it a third time. But they know what they stand against, right? So you have him Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder makes sense. And then go ahead and have Anthony Joshua honor his mandatory challenge in Oleksandr Usyk and satisfy that. You satisfied your IBF mandatory challenger, Kubrat Pulev. Go ahead and satisfy your WBO mandatory challenger in Oleksandr Usyk. And then you have no more roadblocks. Deontay Wilder would be out the way. Oleksandr Usyk would be out the way. And then the second, you do this early in 2021 and you do away with it. Now you have no worries. Now you have no hiccups. Now you have no roadblocks. Clear path to undisputed in the UK on UK soil. But see, they know it's a high risk with Deontay Wilder because he has a huge, not a chip on the shoulder, but a boulder on the shoulder. He has a point to prove. He's motivated, and they understand he has the highest knockout ratio in the history of sport of boxing at 97%. He already dropped Tyson Fury twice. So everybody was surprised that he got up the second knockdown. It's a possibility he don't get up in the trilogy match and gets knocked out. And then you have to revisit all of the talk with Deontay Wilder, and undisputed once again is back on the table for Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua as it was before Tyson Fury even came on back into the scene. So we know that if Deontay Wilder was to agree and fight Oleksandr Usyk and beat Oleksandr Usyk, allow Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua to fight for undisputed, see, Deontay Wilder would then be the WBO mandatory challenger. But then you got to understand what would take place at that point in time. They won't honor and fight Deontay Wilder as the mandatory challenger because then they would have already achieved what they were looking to achieve, and one of these fighters will become undisputed. And Deontay Wilder beats Oleksandr Usyk as he will, because I'm pretty sure he will open up as a huge odds-on favorite to beat Oleksandr Usyk, and I don't think Oleksandr Usyk gets past the third round with Deontay Wilder. But with that said, then Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua fight, the winner is going to vacate. They already undisputed. They already achieved what they needed to achieve. They would vacate the WBO title at that point in time. Deontay Wilder would be void of fighting for undisputed. Now he will be fighting for a vacant WBO title against who knows. And his opportunity for undisputed, his opportunity against Tyson Fury, or his opportunity against Anthony Joshua goes out the window. So you see, these are the games that they're looking to play. They're using Oleksandr Usyk as a roadblock. He understands that. That's why prior to these recent comments, he was not happy with his position. They used Dillian Whyte, British heavyweight contender, as this piece, this piece on the chessboard to be a roadblock to Deontay Wilder. Now Oleksandr Usyk understands that he's being used as such, but they must have offered him amount of step-aside money that he couldn't refuse. And so thus the reason why now he feels like challenging Deontay Wilder to get... See, here's what you need to understand. If Oleksandr Usyk was to somehow beat Deontay Wilder and become, still be the WBO mandatory challenger, then guess what? The winner of Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury at that point in time, right, would give Oleksandr Usyk his opportunity because he don't represent the same threat Deontay Wilder does. They would give Oleksandr Usyk his opportunity at the WBO mandatory spot. He would get an opportunity at being undisputed. See, because he don't represent the same level of threat that Deontay Wilder does. So this is all a game that's being played, and there's pieces on the chessboard that are being used to manipulate the fans in the sport of boxing and even the boxers themselves. But Deontay Wilder, if he was to take this position and had an agreement, see, and this is another thing, agreements really don't mean anything because he has an agreement already in place to fight Tyson Fury in the trilogy match, and they tried everything in their power to maneuver around him. Even stated that October 15th, his deadline passed for him to, acknowledge that he wanted the trilogy match and put the paperwork in to enforce it. But indeed, we know that just 48 hours after losing the second fight, he put the paperwork in. Thus, that's why they had a date already set for July. Then due to the pandemic, it was moved back to October. Then due to the pandemic, it was moved back to December. And now we're here today. So even if he had an agreement in place to fight after Oleksandr Usyk fight, a guaranteed opportunity, the winner of that fight would still find a way to maneuver around him. As I stated, they would then vacate the titles, not giving him his opportunity. But that's all I got for y'all, man. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.